Hello, welcome to our YouTube channel, The PM Insights. In this video, we'll talk about development work and post-launch work you generally do as a product manager. What your roles and responsibilities on those work. So let's get started. So let's talk about the development phase where engineering team generally do actually coding and execute the product. So development does not start before you translate all your requirements into user stories. Basically, you want to make sure that you take all these requirements of a product and translate all these requirements into sizable tasks that team can now look that task and work on it and make a code. Once you have your user stories, this is where the prioritization comes as well. Like if I realize that I haven't mentioned the prioritization, you also, like, if I talk about more about the prioritization, you will also prioritize requirements, because you don't want to like unnecessary build something, right? You want to give value in every phase of your product development, so you will prioritize that feature uh, that you want from start, and that can be like fed into your different releases. So you divide your prioritization, your value with this requirement, and give those value to different releases. Now let's talk about user stories and sprints. But before we talk about it, you probably need to know that you also need to prioritize your uh, sprint as well, because what goes into the sprint is also necessary to prioritize. Now you probably in this time you have the user stories, right? But what what user stories we need to prioritize for the next sprint is really important. So if you know that the sprint is like 2 week of time frame where you add all these user stories according to their prioritization, and you also need to understand the velocity of your team, means how many user story point your team can be complete on one sprint. So you also responsible for uh, maintaining balance between uh, development and as well as like maintenance tasks, because suppose your uh, product is up and running, right? So you probably getting customer feedbacks and you need to improve that product into day-to-day basis. So you are responsible for balancing development as well as maintenance tasks. So this is the user story and sprint section of a development process. So let's talk about software development lifecycle, SDLC. So in software development lifecycle, you probably wondering what are the roles you generally do as a product manager. So in software development lifecycle, gain which again like is a whole separate process that engineering teams go through in order to actually write the code, move it across the different environment, review the code, test the code, and then release the code. But what does a product manager fit into the software development process? You always going to like lingering, right? Like you are going to do like daily stand-ups so that you understand what is happening in the development process. You should always get an understanding of any challenges, issues, big decisions that engineering teams are making while there are like when you're building something. So oftentimes there are uncertainty, right? Unknowns, issues that come up when you actually start building something. So you are the responsible to guide your team on particular directions and help in every section. Like when there is an issue, you are the first point of contact for them. So that this is your role as a software in the software development lifecycle as a product manager. Now let's talk about the technical solutions and some of the trade-offs you generally do as a product manager. So once other area you will feed into the software development lifecycle, kind of before the development actually start, is understanding how something is implemented, how something is working. So you don't need to know the coding, but you probably need to know about how something is made, how it's working. So uh, you don't need to like understand the details of a technical architecture, but I think it's important for you as a product manager to understand that the general approach. You can do this by like getting engineering to walk through maybe some kind of visual diagram, maybe some kind of technical diagrams that convey you the big picture or big component involved in what we are building. Maybe there are some decisions that they make, they that could be like impact the customer experience, they should convey those decisions to you and probably aware you about those decisions. Having a general understanding how your product works is important, not necessarily exactly how we are building, how we are handle it. It's not important for you as a product manager. Trade-off, if I talk about like trade-offs, it's a huge part of your product management, because you could build something in five different way. Just like you could have like 10 millions different requirements for your products, right? So you are going to pick few of them, prioritize them as you need. With the technical implementation, these are some of the different way to build something. If you want to like build something in an absolute best way possible, that's great, but it could take some really long time. So if you are you decide to take a different approach, maybe use some different technology or maybe different language, maybe that will get you faster path to release something. But however, maybe it won't deliver the most important customer experience part. So basically, whatever decisions you make during the product development lifecycle, you made it with consider some of the trade-offs. So you need to consider trade-offs in your development process as a product manager. So now let's talk about some pre-launch activities you generally do as a product manager. Once you have something is built, already built, and you have something that is like functioning product, I think it's also important for you as a product manager to test it. Yes, engineering team will do their own testing. They will like do manual testing, automated testing, all the stuff. But you should also test by yourself. Just try to break it and see what breaks and what the function are working properly. That can be prioritized to fix it. So it's relevant before you actually launch the product. So testing is really important before you launch the product. In terms of launching the product, there are a number of things that you need to make sure it's happened correctly. You need to make sure that you have adequate documents. Maybe there's instruction, maybe some kind of video, some kind of like general documentation. So we need to give this documentation to our customers, so when customer read this document, they can use our product like effectively. And so typically you will work with the technical and document writer to help create your documentation. So if I conclude this, in pre-launch, first you need to test the product before you launch the product. Now second thing, you need to work with technical writers and document writers and make some document so that the customer can use that before they have something to read to understand the product. So now let's talk about when you launch the product, what is the role as a product manager. So you need to work with like different people, like to understand the marketing and go to market strategy. When you are going to release the product, that's the thing you need to understand, the timeline. Is it going to be like priced or it is free? What kind of like branding you will associate it with our product? Will it have like some promotional materials or email campaigns that will go out with the product launch? Those are some of the things you need to aware of as a product manager to contribute. But it's not your job as a product manager to actually sort of those things. If you are working like in a small company or a small startup, maybe that's something you will do regular basis. But I'm currently speaking as like in a lens of like working with the large tech companies where there are very specific areas for doing all kind of stuff. So if you're launching your product now, the customers are going to use it, and this is the role and responsibility you have as a product manager, as in big or small companies. So now let's talk about how you handle the customers after you launch the product. So the last part where I want to touch is customer management. So you need to monitor customers when they are using the product. Also, what are the feedbacks they are giving you? Monitoring how they use your product and their approach towards your product is matters. To having appropriate reporting and appropriate dashboard is very useful to track all these metrics. So Probably engineering team or technical team will help you to set up this dashboard and uh, uh, to give you overview how you can track this real-time usage data. So this I want to talk about like customer management after you launch the product. So now let's talk about the customer feedback channel. What's your role in this? So feedback could be in any form, like customer calls, customer reviews, feedbacks on public forum. It could be in any form. You will have a proper channel within your company for feedback so that the customer can contact you. The feedback customers gives you like should be used to inform what you do next within the product. So it's really important to getting feedbacks and maintain the feedback channel within your organization. So as a product manager, you are also responsible for managing different customers, some of like happy customers, frustrated customers, and strategic customers. So what I do generally, I generally like to call with them and understand their feeling, their view on our product. So firstly, let's talk about like happy customers. You always want to stay connected with these kind of customers when you are not having a problem, right? But you will hear about like problems that customers have, and you will probably have to deal with them. But it's really good to talk with the customer that already satisfied, like this kind of customer, happy customers who give you positive feedbacks, and you kind of want to make a good relation with this kind of customers. Secondly, we have like frustrated customers that have issues. So your responsibility is to escalate these issues and that they have, and are not being solved. So you will want to talk directly with these customers, and vice versa, they also want to talk with the product manager and their team to solve their issues. Third, there are some strategic customers. These are the customers that are extremely important to the company, because these are the customers, they are paying a lot of money to our organization. So these are the customers that company sees real value in partnering with. So as a product manager, your role is to always give some time and prioritize speaking with this kind of like strategic customers. So that's almost it. We talk about so many work you do as a product manager in this series. It's a lot of, and I tried my best to condense all the work as a product manager you do. So so at last, I want to thank you for your support. You watch the PM Insight YouTube channel, and in particular this series of what does product manager actually do as a product manager.